Hello everybody, and we are going to talk about today precast concrete panels. So if you are building some concrete bays in your yard to hold your gravel or a tipping shed or out like that, you're in the right place, because all we talk about is recycling gear and skips and everything else. We in our yard are going to be using some precast flat panels, and these are going to be used as a pushing wall in our tipping yard. And you might wonder why I'm talking about this video. Why I'm talking about a precast panel. It's not interesting. Might not be interesting to some people. But what you can do is with these panels, you can actually make them yourself. A couple of bits of steel, a good bit of mesh in the middle, and then an 8-inch concrete, 8-inch thick. Then you will have a good, strong pushing wall, which will stand up to JCBs, Bobcats and stuff like that. If you've got a big 30-ton shovel, and, be mindful, but you should still be quite comfortable using that kind of machine, pushing material into it and loading your lorries up. You will need to do a couple of things though. And in our yard, we built some shuttering years and years ago, which we use. And what it is basically some sheets of steel like that. You stand them up on their end, one there, one there. You put some mesh in the middle, fill it with concrete. That's the top and bottom of it. But if you make yourself some shuttering, and you're going to see, I've done a video walking around our yard, and you'll see the shuttering that we use. It's just old steel, a couple of sheets of plate, some box sections. As long as the panels are both the same size, you can actually make these panels anywhere. There's no difficult about them. All you do is you put a post in the ground like this, one over here, and then put your shuttering in between, fill it with concrete. It's pretty simple, and it will save you a fortune in the transport cost. A pre-cast, pre-stressed piece of concrete is basically, imagine this is, you've got a concrete slab there, and inside the concrete slab you have little wires like that go inside, and they pull them as tight as they possibly can. So the concrete's like that, and when they put that in the concrete, they let the concrete go off and it will slightly pull like that. So it's basically all the time being pushed together. So when a machine pushes against the panel like that, because it's so tight on its side, so that it'd be like this, and because it's so tight, as the machine pushes on it, it's already got some tension in it, so it makes it a little bit stronger. You can actually overcome this. And bear in mind, I am no expert in concrete. I've just made a lot of these panels. I've made a lot of concrete Lego blocks. I've made a lot of bays, out of steel, you name it, I've made it. And the big concrete Lego bricks are brilliant. But if you've got a big yard, so our yard's a couple of acres, and we use them bricks in our aggregate bays. And the reason we use them in aggregate bays is that 10 years later, they're still in there now, and we have no problem. We have a lot of vehicle movement, so we have a lot of gravel tipped. We have a lot of gravel coming in and out all day, especially through summer. We can do, hundreds of tons a day for our yard in aggregates. So you need to be mindful to have a good strong wall. Our bricks outside, we've got thousands, probably 2,000 of concrete bricks. We've got a mould and we build them as we go. The problem is with a tipping shed, them Lego bricks are this wide. So when you're cladding up a building, you end up with a big brick at the bottom, and it's not ideal. And I personally prefer a precast piece of concrete in the middle. Plus, you can do them really quickly. So them big bricks, we've got 12 moulds here, so we can take a 6 cube load of concrete. You've got to pour it in, you've got to strip the mould and all that. And to do a panel, what we're doing panels that are 4.5 meters by 2 meters. It would be a complete and utter nightmare to actually make that many bricks to fill the hole. It's what them concrete leg bricks are 1,600 by 400. So you can imagine for that you need 3, and that's 400 high. You're talking 30, 40 bricks, whatever, just top of my head. So it would take absolutely ages. These panels, you can pour them nice and easy and no real bother. Also, it is massively cheaper. So let's say, for instance, you want a decent push wall, you get a precast panel, it gets dropped off, and you've got transport, you've got everything else. It's a nightmare. And to make these panels where they're as good as any other panel, you basically need to use a double strength mesh. So usually for meshing concrete, you would just have tiny little thin mesh like this, and it'd be a 6-inch square, you know, that sort of size square. The mesh you use for this is actually double. So it would be a 12mm bar left to right. So whichever way the concrete is at its longest. So for instance, if we was using this £5 note again, going that way, you'd have a 12 or 14mm bar left to right. And then top to bottom, like a 10mm bar. And that would be so much more than you would put in a pre-tensioned or pre-cast on the floor or anything like that. You would never ever put so much in. And that does give it some real strength. If not, I don't know what, you know, possibly a little bit more strength than a pre-tensioned, I don't know. But because you're doing it all on site, the going rate for concrete in Yorkshire is between 100 and 120 quid a cube. The concrete that you would use for this, though, will cost you about 140 quid a cube. And a 4.5 metre by 2 metres, you can do that for about 250 quid. So, say 80 quid for your mesh. You're 300 quid. And you can do one every day, especially in summer. In summer, you can shutter it, put it on. Next day, do the next one, next one. You can get around a full massive building in a week. This time of year, and in summer, we did some research, and I found that the best concrete for these buildings is, it's got a name for it, which I don't know, but these concrete designers, these are people actually design concrete. You tell them what the application is, and they'll do a certain mix. So what they have told me, or what they tell me and what I use, is, so concrete has an average weight per cube of, let's say, let's call it 2.2 ton. It'll be somewhere around there. 2,200 kilos. And they tell me that you should use 440 kilos of cement. So we'll take the 440 off per cube. That leaves 1,760. So the 1,760 kilograms, or 1.7 tons, is your sand, your aggregate, your 10mm gravel. So usually in there you'd have equal parts. Sharp sand, 10mm, 20mm, and then a bit of water to make it up. In summer, we'll put a little bit of retarder in it, slows the concrete down as it's going off. You never want concrete going off too fast. That's when you got all them little airline cracks on the top of it and stuff like that. You don't want any of that in precast. You want to make it, get it covered up, slow it down, nice and steady to go off. Leave your moulds on a couple of days if you can, but you never want concrete to go fast, to dehydrate too fast, because it's no good for it. So you go over to the video and watch what we're doing in the yard. I think you'll really enjoy it, and I'll see you very soon. Alright, boys and girls, so I'm just going to show you something that you can do in your transfer station or anywhere in your yard, in theory. So, have you ever seen buildings with a pre-stressed concrete panel? So, basically, they get this steel, they pull it tight, fill it with concrete on the floor, and you have pre-stressed concrete. I'll show you it on the wall. But what you can do is, in your own yard, them sheets, them pre-cast sheets are expensive. Also, they're usually only 1200 high. So this is 2.1 metres one way and 5 metres the other, so it's a big square. What we do here, which is on our other buildings, which I've always done myself, is we drill a peg into the floor, big peg, 20mm, like that. Put resin round it, so that's the resin gun there, look. Typical building, you know, skip site, nobody looks after now. Put that in there, and then we put these little U brackets in like that to hold the mesh into place. And then what we have over at the other side is we have a shuttering panel. So we have 2 of these like that, shuttering panels. And what you do is, I'll show you, you stand them up there, and then we pour concrete in from behind. We've done this on our other buildings, and believe me, they will last absolutely years. Because your concrete, you can get them massive and quite square. So a lot of a precast panel, like I said, is a real long, low panel. You put 2 on top of each other. This, you can pour 1 straight away. So as you can see, the channel is right to the right-hand side of that girder, to the right. So what you can do is you can pour your concrete in here. And then we've got a vibrator. Stick the poker down, just leave a big enough hole to go in. And then that ties the floor to the top, to the walls, which really does stiffen everything up. We use a C40 concrete, C40, C50, something really, really strong, and it will make a really good precast panel. And you can do it on site. To make this panel, so you can work this out yourself. So this is 2.1 metres tall with double thick mesh, so that's 10mm that way and 6mm that way, and it's double, so it's only that, look. apart, so it's a double mesh. You'd never use anything like this in a pre-tensioned concrete. They would only put a few bars through the middle. If you use this stuff and vibrate it, it is like a rock, let me tell you. As good as any pre-stressed concrete panel, probably better. So that is how you do it. These tie the girder into that. And this is only any good if you intend to leave it here for a long time. So if you're going to be moving your panels, so if you're going to be taking these panels in and out, you wouldn't put them to the floor and you wouldn't put these little beams in. But what we do when we take them out, that's why that one's welded, but this isn't. That's only got a tack. So if ever we take it out, we just smash it with a pecker, and then we can easily get it out, and we will just pour another one. So this, to make your sheet of mesh, is 100 quid, not even that, because you get a bit spare, about 80 quid call it, and then your concrete is about 150 quid. So to do that is 250 for that big massive panel. 4.5 metres by 2 metres. So if you work it out, a pre-stressed panel, we're doing this full building all the way around, look. We've made a massive building. We're cladding and putting walls up all at the same time. But this will, when it's all done and our yard's back to some sort of normality, that'll be fully concreted all the way around at 2.5 metres tall. You can work it out, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12 bays at about 300 quid. So you're talking 3 grand to do the full basey thingy, plus about a week and a half's labour. So work it out, boys and girls.
I hope you enjoyed looking at that. As you can see, these type of walls are what you'd use on farms and everywhere else. So this video might not just appeal to the waste people, it might appeal to some other people. But I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. And we have been completely battered by a storm. So there is a lot of bits of crap all over the yard. But we have had 2 weeks. I've got a kid with a sweeping brush and a digger cleaning up, and as quick as he cleans it, there's more stuff there. Dirty, dirty, dirty. But anyway, if you're in the UK, you'll know that. I'll see you all very, very soon, and we'll get some more videos done on once this building's finished and I can get back into a routine of doing a video every few days. But bear with me, and if you like my videos, click subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.